Give me 15 minutes and I'll save you 25 years of stress, mistakes, money, time, all that good stuff. Because I know where I've been. I've been there. I have overpaid. I've overpriced. I have trusted and I've been screwed. Yes. I think I've done it all. And I say that, and Lord help me, something will happen next week that I'll probably talk to you about again on another episode. But let's talk about that. So I wrote down and I come up with 6 real big picture ideas that we can help talk about how to save you time. What can it do to avoid those hurdles that I've overcome before? And I guess number 1, not every client's worth it. That's the truth. I used to think sales, 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 and that's important. But you get that feeling, and it's if you don't have it, you'll learn it, and you probably already dealt with some of them if you've been in business at any time. It's just sometimes you got to know when to say no, and it could be the type of work. More than likely, it's the personality. Well, Chris, my friends charge more. I've been down that road too. I've charged more. But how do you put a price on your patience? How do you put a price on your people's patience? I've had people cuss my people, and I tell them that we're no longer doing business, period. It ain't their fault. You want to cuss somebody, you cuss me. That's just the way it is. But we don't even want to get to that point when we know that this person's going to be a pain in the ass. They don't need to, let them go on and find somebody else. Because I guarantee you there are other people out there, like we used to think, who's not listening to me right now saying, I'll take that customer on. Have them. Have at them. It's just not worth it. Okay? Number 2, profit is more important than revenue. Yep. So revenue is great. That's sales, and it's very important, don't get me wrong. But if you ain't making a profit, you're just spinning your wheels. You're breaking even. There's nothing extra. Is it nice to say, yeah, I'm a $5 million company? Well, sure it is. But if you're losing money or you're breaking even, big deal. I'd rather hear you say, I'm making 20 to 50% markup on my revenue. I'm having troubles talking to the banker on how, not the banker, the accountant on how I'm going to save money and not have to pay taxes. Where to put that extra funds to play that game with Uncle Sam. That's the conversations we want to have. Who gives a damn how much money you got in the bank if it's not yours? I put my money, I've talked about this before, I put it in an escrow account because I want to know that when the time comes, I can pay those bills that my subs are going to charge me. The best part is what's left over is ours, mine, what I can do with myself and plan for that. Like I said, profit is key. And that's what we're here to do, because you're not going to build a company without profit. You can't grow without profit. You can't help mama and the kids without profit. Matter of fact, it's no fun without profit. I've learned that lesson. It's just no fun. It's too close. I think one of the last episodes I talked about, you pay the bills and you finally get through 30 days and you're glad you did and you got another 30 days. I'll tell you what, even if it is a good feeling paying those bills, don't get me wrong, but it's even a better feeling paying those bills and you got stuff left over. Think about that. Stop being the bottleneck. You've heard this before. I'm going to say it again. Get out of your people's way. Let them do their thing. Do not be a micromanager. Be a trainer if you want to do something. Train them how to do something. Go on a vacation. Tell them not to call you. Ask them before you leave, what are you going to do if I'm not here? Find those things out, because you're the one holding things up. And if you've got good people, they're going to do better than you. Hands down. And if you don't have good people, then you need to figure out that. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So we're talking about building that team. Well, lesson 4 I've learned in building this team is you got to hire slow and fire fast. Now, I don't want you firing anybody, but if you have to, you got to, because if they're not contributing to the team, contributing to the company, then they don't need to be there. That's the hard truth. What's most important when you have a bad person is that they're affecting your good people. And you might not see it because good people don't like to complain to you, but they sure will talk amongst themselves. Think about that. And what's that do? That brings the whole damn team down. Ask. And you don't usually have to ask. You'll see it if you're paying attention. But if you're out on vacations like I want you to, somebody's got to be paying attention. You got to have somebody reporting back to you, say, hey, so-and-so ain't pulling their weight. So make some changes, make sure that happens. But I said, better yet, hire slow. Better yet, have somebody help you hire. I'm not a very good person when it comes to hiring people. Just I like to believe people are telling me the truth. I happen to know that they don't. Being a landlord for over 20 years, I've heard all kinds of excuses and lies. Not everybody does, don't get me wrong. But I'm too trustworthy. I'll let you screw me once and then I'll let it happen again. But try to get those people in place that aren't going to do that. Have somebody who's almost like a headhunter or somebody, an HR person who can be a third person almost. Kind of see through the BS that you might get. Let them sort through them people who are applying for that position. Use your team. They got to work with them. Use your team to interview those people. Make sure they're going to be part of the team. They'll know if they want to work with them or not. And then you can interview them at the end after they give their recommendations. Just a thought. Because while I know you have to fire, it's no fun to fire. I don't care unless they really make you mad, and then it's almost enjoyable. But but we don't want to get to that point. That's the whole purpose of this conversation right now. Don't get to that point where you want to fire somebody. Just make it happen. All right. This one, my next list, sales and communication. You got to learn it. You got to be the sales. Sales drives everything. We can have this conversation. I've had this conversation with other people. What's more important, sales, production? While both are important, sales drives your company. Sales forgives a lot of sins or mistakes you're going to make. Without that money, you're going to fail. Plain and simple. Going back to that conversation we had earlier, I mentioned that revenue is not as important as profit, and that's true. But I also told you the revenue is important. You got to have that booger coming in. You got to have that sales, whether it's you or somebody else. But you're ultimately responsible because you're the owner of your company. You make sure that your sales manager, your salesperson, you yourself, whoever that is, continuously looks for sales. Continues to look for the right sales as well. That right sales is what drives that profit. I have made the mistakes where I have done remodel jobs. I personally don't care for remodel jobs. They're hard to estimate. There's hidden expenses behind them walls. Those remodelers, and if you're one of them, you know what I'm talking about. And you plan for those. Or you put it in writing that, if I remove this wall or something else, it's going to cost you more, Mr. Client. I don't like those surprises. That's why I don't care for it. But you got to plan. You got to have sales. You got to make sure the right sales. So if you're not a remodeling contractor, then don't do remodel jobs. If you're not a new construction contractor, probably not that you can't, but you better be prepared and make sure you make that transition. Subs, electricians, you don't want to be plumbers. Plumbers don't want to be electricians. That's simple. And you know what I'm talking about. Do you want to be a plumber and take on residential jobs, commercial jobs? Are you doing emergency calls, not emergency calls? What's going to happen on Sunday night or Saturday night? Matter of fact, you're out with the family and something happens. Plan for that type of stuff. But make sure you get those right type of jobs. Communicate is part also of that. Communicate with your clients. Make sure you explain to them what's going on. Look for reasons to communicate. Talk to them, especially in the sales part of that. But the communication not only looks good to a potential client, it looks good to a current client who then will praise you for communicating with them. And last but not least, and this one's the most important one because you've heard my story where I almost died. And I learned this one the hard way. Don't ignore your personal life. Don't ignore your family. Don't put them in a point where they had to make tough decisions and not be aware of what's going on. I talked about communicate just a minute ago. Communicate with them. Or better yet, have a team that you communicate with that they can call on and rely on, that your family doesn't have to deal with it. I didn't have that at one time. And I had all the information up here. I didn't have a team. I was laying in a coma. And my wife and kids are dealing with me being sick, almost dying, and have to deal with other people. Don't forget that. Don't forget the family vacations, the kids' sports, whatever it is that makes you happy. Don't forget going out on the golf course, getting in the bass boat. And of course, this time of year, don't forget about going hunting, if that's what you like to do. That's what I like to do. But anyway, but don't forget the family. It's very important. The other part about taking the time away and improving your team, this is my last point, improving your team while you've been away. It makes them rely without you, makes them self-reliant, gives you time with your family, and even time to yourself to recharge. You got to take care of yourself. Don't get sick like I did. Don't get in the hospital. Take care of yourself, whatever what that looks like to you. Exercise, eating right, and all that good stuff. But take care of you. Now, since I shared all this, I'd love to hear places where you need help. And I can tell you what, it'll take longer than 15 minutes if need be. We'll talk about it as long as you want. Reach down in those show notes below. Schedule time with me. We'll talk about it. And I'm sure there's a mistake I made along the way that I even brought up today. I'd be happy to share with you, or you tell me your mistake and maybe I learn from you. But we can come up with a solution. Absolutely can come up with a solution. So reach out to me there. This is Chris G. again with the Hard Hat CEO. God be with you till we meet again. Bye-bye.